Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode. It's been a while. We had a nice little winter break. But we're back. We're back. An episode of River City 93, where today we're talking about all the latest signings, the league schedule drop, some more exciting news. And to help me with all of that, once again, is my good friend, Mr. Matt Myers. Matt, how have you been, sir? How has the off-season been treating you?
Not bad, not bad. Not gonna lie, it's been kind of nice sometimes. Just not having a game scheduled for a Saturday and being able to just have some open weeks. Well, not as many of those coming up because of the new schedule, but been enjoying it in the meantime. And we've gotten a nice set of I guess we call them Hanukkah gifts. So far, early Christmas gifts. If that's your persuasion. So it's been a fruitful December.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it hasn't been bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm probably the opposite. I have been itching to get back to Kickers games. And you would think I would need a break after what we experienced last season, but I'm very much like, all right, I'm ready to get back. I think after Thanksgiving, I was like, I'm ready. I even told Electra, I was like, I'm kind of bored on Saturdays now. It's just I've gotten in that routine of going to City Stadium so much that now that it's like, all right, I'm ready. At least some preseason football, something. I need something.
That'll be here before you know it, so don't you worry.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think speaking of camp, I think you said preseason games are starting up even earlier than what they were before. But we'll talk about that later at a later date. But Matt, we have a lot of other stuff to talk about. I mean, today we're talking about the schedule. We're talking about new signings coming into the club. How are the new signings going to fit into Darren's system? How is Darren going to manipulate and change the system? So, also coaches leaving. Let's start off with that. Coach Cap, who just led the U20s to a quarterfinal exit at the USL Academy Cup. He's been in Richmond, I believe, for 2 years now. He's been the U20 head coach there, also part of the coaching staff for the men's team. He's leaving to become the assistant coach back in Sporting Cascade, where he's from. Real quick, any thoughts on how his 2 years went here for Richmond, his impact on the U20s, and what do you think Darren might be looking to do to replace him?
I don't know how much direct influence he really had. To be totally honest, it seems like especially with the senior team, it was hard to see what he was really doing. Part of that is just because we don't get to see that day in and day out, but it really felt like the senior team was the Darren and Mika show, and the other guys were kind of there-ish. We know Evan works with the keepers, but I don't know. It wasn't really clear what Connor did for the first team. I'll be honest, I don't care about the 20s at all. So whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I followed the 20s when it was cool. A lot closer.
They're fun to watch, but
yeah, it was nice. We did do an episode on them. I'm wondering what that setup is going to look like now moving forward with him moving along. What does it mean for the U20 program? We know there's been a lot of talks about the youth academy setup. Some of the, how to put it, headbutting going on between them and Richmond United. So it'd be interesting to see. But also some other cool news that came out today, talking about the U20 program. Nick Simmons, his dad, Greg Simmons, he used to play for the Richmond Kickers. He played a couple of minutes here for the U20s and the men's team last year. Got selected third in the MLS SuperDraft by FC Dallas. Matt, first and foremost, you follow college soccer probably closer than anyone, so I'll let you speak on it. But just how important is this for Richmond? But also Nick Simmons getting the chance to go to what I think is probably the best destination for him outside of maybe Philly when it comes to young development of players in FC Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't know if Richmond's going to get the credit, in the long term. I think people will see UVA and kind of attach it there, even though he was only there for really a semester and a half,
Yeah.
basically in one college season. He had a good season. I think he scored 10 or 11 times. You know, made for first team All American. I was kind of surprised by that one, but he was I think certainly ACC freshman of the year. You know, I think started to kind of sounds weird, but grow into his body a
Yeah.
little bit in the few UVA games I saw. Needs to figure out what it is about that family line and learn the clutch gene because that family don't have a good track record from the spot when it matters. You know, uh, but yeah, I think Dallas is a really good potential place for him to land. They picked him at 3. They traded up for that pick. Oddly enough, they traded up for the number 2 pick as well in a separate trade and also took a forward at 2. So I don't know what the plan is there. If it's just, hey, let's take what we see as best player available and stack talent.
Yeah.
And it's just, but like you alluded to, they've got kind of a really good track record of bringing young guys through their system. I think probably a lot more of them are homegrown guys. I don't know, what their track record is with draftees, especially ever since kind of the quote unquote academy era really popped up. But yeah, compared to some of the other places he could have ended up, I think there's a lot worse options out there than Dallas, for him. I think next year's probably going to be primarily playing for North Texas, if I had to guess,
Yeah.
right now, because they've got a couple of you know big strikers, on the first team, and it's probably going to take him a little time to fully adjust into being a pro. Like he's still pretty young, so I think getting him reps and getting him adapted into their system is going to be the initial goal. And yeah, if he gets some minutes here, some minutes there, all the better. But with his stats as a Generation Adidas player, I think he's kind of roster safe for at least a couple of years, unless it just goes really wrong. So there's not necessarily like the urgency to kind of force feed him in the first team and go into an instant sink or swim situation.
Yeah. There's a part of me that's like secretly hoping that FC Dallas is like, all right, look, Nick, instead of sending you to North Texas to play MLS Next Pro, which I know this will probably never happen, but I like to dare to dream. Then you loan him to Richmond for a year, and we finally get to see Nick Simmons really be a forward for the Richmond Kickers that we haven't had for a while. But I don't think that would probably like you're probably right. He probably will play some of this from North Texas. He seems to be in that mode of like I forget. I think their second name was like Peter Musa or something like that. Croatia. Kind of be in the same mode as that, but he was killing it at UVA from what I was seeing, man. And seeing how disappointing Jamaica is and how disappointing our forward line is, I'm hoping that Nick develops really, really well, and he goes on to do bigger and better things. I think it's correct me if I'm wrong, but Florida State too won the women's. Did they win the women's? Yeah. So I mean, someone there got a title in the Simmons family. So. And is there any talk of her going pro yet? Have we heard anything yet?
Kate's the one to ask about that, not me.
Yeah, probably. All right. So also other big news has dropped. I'm appreciative that the league has like gotten better at dropping these news because what year was we had to wait till like almost February to get the league schedule? Was it like 2023 or 2024?
I don't know. Things have thankfully moved up, more and more over the years. I mean, it used to be back in the day, like, yeah, you'd find it out a month before the season started, or we would find it out. Like, I'm sure the teams knew sooner, but maybe it wasn't a priority to blast it out all over. Well, blasted out different terms back in the day because you know internet age evolving and whatnot. But
Yeah. So USL League One schedules dropped. There's also a name change to the Cup this year, which can finally be displayed in Richmond because the Jägermeister Cup couldn't be displayed in Richmond because of ABC lost. So the Penix Tires USL Cup. We'll start off with that. Richmond is in a group with Charlotte, Charleston, Loudoun United, Greenville, and also Pittsburgh. Now, unfortunately, we don't get to play Pittsburgh in the Cup. Would have been nice to have an old guard derby there, but we don't get that. We do, however, get Charleston Battery back. We in the rivalry there. We play them May 16th in City Stadium. We also play Charlotte Independence at home, and then we end out the group on the road against Loudoun United and Greenville Triumph. So, Matt, any assignment to this group? What's your thoughts on it? Do you think this is a good draw for the Kickers? When I asked on social media, a lot of fans seem to not be too high on our prospects of getting out of this group again.
I mean, no, I don't think right now I would bet on us because now there's 7 groups, so 8 teams advancing. So you have to win the group, or there's one wild card, out there. So the simple mathematics, say probably not, especially with 2 of the better championship teams in recent times. Pittsburgh literally won the league last year, and unfortunately Charleston's been pretty good lately too.
They did lose Aaron Malloy though, and I think they announced it the league's biggest interleague transfer for $200K. So
whatever.
In a turn as well.
But no, it'll be fun to be able to see Charleston again. Be able to actually get to play Loudoun. This time around, it would have been a little bit of a kind of funny gag if every year Richmond and Loudoun, same group, never play.
Oh man, that would have been hilarious.
And Greenville and Charlotte again, whatever. Who cares? Yeah, so I think you take a run at that first Charlotte game. If you don't win that one, meh. To the rest.
Yeah, I mean,
I think to get out, you probably have to. Out of 4 games, you probably need 10 points.
Yeah. How many games did we have last year again? Let me see.
In the Cup, 4.
Was it 4 last year? Okay. Maybe I was thinking of more. Yeah. You're kind of right. Like, I would say really after the first 2, like, if we sit at let's just say a draw and a loss, right? I'm kind of just like, it is what it is. Like, chuck it to the wind and call it a day. But I know, Darren wouldn't come right out and say that. But, yeah, I wouldn't be upset with, seeing what else you got on the bench at that point. My overall thoughts on it is, like, my expectation is a little low. Like, I do think we will perform better, more than just the 1 goal scored.
Yeah, I was going to say
games.
It would take me quite the feat to actually do worse in the competition.
Yeah. I think we played Charlotte well. Charlotte Greenville, we played well last year. I'm assuming that the Richmond and Loudoun game is going to be unique because I'm imagining a lot of Richmond fans are going to make a trip off of that. And then Richmond and Charleston, I think it's like the Louisville game last year. Like, if you were to tell me Richmond lost 4-0 to Charleston, I'm not upset about it. But if you were to tell me Richmond took the game to PKs, then I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it's a good measuring stick for them.
I think the best thing that the Kickers have going for them for the Cup is that the first 2 are at home. So you can go for it right away, and then how much value there really is in these away games that are both followed up by midweek away games, too. So if those are punt games, that's fine because got to hop on a plane pretty much right after and head not anywhere nearby for either one of them.
Yeah, for real. And then also we got the full schedule that came out. The full regular season schedule came out, which is good to have. there were changes to it. So originally we were supposed to have 20 teams, Sporting Cascade, and what was the other one? Port Lucia? Was it Port?
No, Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. Okay, yeah. Decided not to join the league this year. Sporting Cascade, I don't know if you saw this, man, put out a message explaining why they weren't playing this year. No mention of 2027. So
I also like how they made the announcement they were going to play this year after the schedules came out.
yeah. You had to make sure ChatGPT can put the messages out there for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Had to make sure. I wonder if Connor is going there to work with AI. I wonder.
I mean, who else? What else is there to work with out there? Like,
so the full schedule is out. Matt, what games for the Kickers this year catch your attention?
I mean, I don't know if it's any singular specific games, just because you knew going into it, it's a straight double round robin, full home and away. So we've got a lot of games. Is what ends up happening, because you get the base 34 in the league plus the 4 cup games that you're going to have. That's a Premier League, La Liga, Serie A level schedule in terms of games played.
Yeah,
right there, 38, and then you add on Open Cup, and who knows if there's going to be some other friendlies, anything like that. It's a lot of soccer, that's coming in 2026, and that's just scheduled, soccer, right now. So no, it wasn't like other years where it's like, ooh, who are we going to get as like our extra home games, or who we're going to get as are we going to get stuck with one of the crap, away games multiple times. Did stand out to me that we're opening up on the West Coast, and then only a month later we're back out to the West Coast again. So we're getting 2 of those big trips out of the way pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I also noticed that some of the away stuff. We got a midweek Boise followed up by Corpus Christi on the weekend, and then later in the year both the Florida teams on a Wednesday, Saturday. So it looks like whether by design or dumb luck, I gotta think it's a little bit maybe by design. Tough road trips, but potential. You don't have to make the trips as often as a result.
No, not at all. Not at all. I was looking at it when you were talking, just looking at like how big are our road trips, how big are our away forms. Our longest road trip is in June, starting off June 6th. Because this is the Cup and the league schedule together. Loudoun United, Athletic Club Boise, and Corpus Christi, all there in the 3 green stretch there. That's our biggest away stretch. Our biggest home stretch. I think I just saw it.
It's early in the year.
Yeah, early in the year, 3 games there. Yeah. Union Omaha, Charlotte Independence. I believe that is another cup game. And then Westchester at home.
Yeah. So instead of individual games that stood out to me, what really stood out to me is for home games, this is I think a really favorable schedule. We've got a Westchester game on a Friday, we've got a Sarasota game on a Friday, but that's 4th of July weekend, so I mean it's already the weekend on that Friday anyway. Yeah. And then the Cosmos on a Wednesday. Everything else is a Saturday game. That is a nice schedule.
Some other thing that stick up to me, I know everyone's looking for the Henry Derby. That's July 15th on a Wednesday up in Madison. But, Matt, we have a Labor Day Henry Derby, August 29th.
It's not when Labor Day is.
I mean, that's not cool. Is that a Labor Day weekend? Is that not?
A week early.
Oh, shit. Thought it was Labor Day weekend. I thought they blessed us like that. But, hey, it's around that same time. I'm going to be celebrating it. But, yeah, like, that's going to be fun. Like, it's nice to see they put down the Saturday. And it's not at the end of the year, so I don't have to have a heart attack on whether or not the game determines playoffs or not for us.
Yeah, that was fun. What? That game was fun.
Yeah, that game was fun. Yeah.
The other nice thing is, finish off with 2 games at home. So
yeah,
if we needed to work on playoff positioning, work on last final push for a playoff spot, I'd rather have home games than away games for those.
Yeah. Also, Coach Mika makes his return. Well, makes his return to City Stadium on July 3rd, Labor Day. 4th of July weekend. And then we go out there third to last game of the season on October 10th. So I know those are going to be games we're looking forward to as well. Also, the New York Cosmo matchup. I know that's probably going to be a cool one out there as well. Matt, you are right, though. I think the schedule is favorable for us because I don't remember a schedule in which we had the chances for a lot of road trips. Like, you look at it, I mean, you got Loudon. You also have Charlotte in there. A couple of New York games. I know Westchester might be a little bit difficult to get to, but like New York, all on the train, stuff like that. So not too bad for if you want to do a good road trip. Also, Naples, Sarasota, that same away trip weekend. I think a couple of people are trying to make that work. So
I don't know how great a schedule it is overall for travelers necessarily because as great as our home schedule is, there's a lot of Wednesday away days.
Yeah.
Mixed in there, like Westchester Wednesday, Naples is a Wednesday, but you can double dip that with Sarasota. You've got what else? Knoxville's a Friday, Chattanooga's a Wednesday, Portland's a Wednesday. I know people liked that one last year. That becomes a little bit more challenging, as you mentioned earlier. Madison's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So not impossible, but it's not something where you can easily do kind of a quick summer day trip, weekend trip. You got to kind of think through it with most people's work schedules.
Yeah. It's what I will say this. Like, I'm happy that we have a balanced schedule, so we can really get a determination of who is good, who is not. It's a balanced schedule. You see it. Everyone plays the same amount of games in League One. I know championship, they're still kind of messing around up there, but at least in League One, it's a balanced schedule, and we can go on from there. For now. Yeah. So also before we wrap up, but new signings, Matt. Darren has been busy, and we were promised that he was going to be busy. 6 new signings. Let's start off with the goalkeeper. This is my first time saying these names, so you know how this goes. If I mess it up, because it's my first time saying their names on air.
You've never messed up a name before.
Yeah. Oh, also, before we do this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Right now, we're sitting on 99 subscribers, so we would love to start the new year with 100 subscribers on YouTube. Cost you nothing. Just take a moment, like, share, subscribe, send to a friend on YouTube, podcast, wherever you're watching. Make sure you also go to our website, rivercity93.com, and you can go and support us there. So, back to it. Jan Flynn. Matt, do you think he is challenging for the number one? Is he being brought in to be the definite number one? Or is he challenging Sneddon to be the number one?
I mean, I think he's at least challenging him. So, I don't know for a fact, some of these pronunciations either. So I'm just guessing / mimicking what I saw in some of these YouTube highlight packages, which are always, fully accurate in every way, of course, right? If it's on YouTube, it's true. That's how the world works. Jan Fillion, I think by the time the season starts, he'll be 30. But he's veteran goalkeeper, Canadian, 6'4", big beefy boy, in that, he just looks like what you would, kind of imagine the stereotypical, kind of Euro-ish, goalkeeper looking like with the beard, the size, everything like that. He's bounced around a lot. Came up Montreal Academy. Bounced around a lot of the Scandinavian leagues over in Europe. Came back to TFC. Two for a little bit. I don't think we ever played him when he was with TFC two. So there's that. But most recently, he played for a couple years with Halifax in the Canadian Premier League. Seemed to be a pretty well-regarded keeper for them. Helped get them into the playoffs at least one of the years. Went over to Malta for a minute. Now he's here with us. But big guy, looks very nimble for a big guy. Highlight packages, but is able to lay out pretty well for saves. Not just some lumbering oaf of a big man. He can actually move a little bit. No idea how he is with his distribution, which we know Darren likes a solid distributor as a keeper, but I mean, other than that, he kind of looks like almost out of central casting, for a keeper. And there's going to be a theme with almost everyone we talk about, but it's like it's not because Darren was listening to us, but it feels like he was listening to us with some of the physical attributes that are coming in.
Yeah. So some of these attributes, tall, athletic. You're right about the double part. I mean, I'll probably watch a couple of his highlights. I plan on going a little bit more deeper on his signings, looking at them. But what I saw about Jan was he fills out a goal. Like, he doesn't feel as if like he's swallowed up in it. Like, he feels like he fills it out and whatnot, which is easy to see. It was good to see. So yeah, if he is the number one or pushes standing to be the number one, I think that's for the best. It doesn't feel as if like with this situation we have with Pablo, where it was kind of like, all right, Pablo's here just to kind of be the what's the word term I'm looking for?
Mentor.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it doesn't feel like that. I feel like Jan is brought in to be like, if Stan is not on it, Stan's riding the bench for a little while, which is not a bad thing. In defense, which the area that I was looking most important to, I was really looking at this. Woo, okay.
Where do you want to start?
All right, Ethan Coast, center back. Daniel Moore, new signing today, came from the Crown FC. What was it, Crown Legacy FC? Ethan Coast, I forgot where he came from.
Birmingham.
Was it Birmingham?
Yeah.
We are Birmingham. Mujal Murena. Miami FC as well. Spent some time in Birmingham. He's a fullback and center back there as well. Seemed to be like a full, clear defensive rebuild. If you go back and listen to the last episode I did a couple of weeks ago, mentioned how Maxi's gone. He's getting his COVID badges. So is Clyde Guy Frank is playing in the 4th division of Brazil. Simon Fitch hasn't announced yet, but with these signings coming in, it seems to be like Darren was like, we have to, be more athletic in the defensive back line, get taller, get more physical. And I keep seeing the same kind of like hit words used in a lot of these articles of no nonsense defender, physical, athletic. It's kind of seems like this is the trend of what Darren wants to be. He wants to be a rough and tumble team out there. So what's your thoughts on it, Matt?
Yeah, kind of across the board, like, all fairly big boys, coming in, on the defense, and at the very least, with Morana and Moore, from what I could see on the highlights, at the very least, quick. Hard to see in highlights if they're outright fast, but they at least seem quick.
Yeah.
With their feet, so that's nice. But yeah, I mean, it feels kind of with what you were saying. One thing Darren isn't looking to do this year is get bullied or get just flat out run past. I mean, we complained so much last year about these guys are slow, and so far with what, again, highlight reels, take it with a massive grain of salt, but
Highlight FC, man.
Yeah, but what I saw from little bits, like I not gonna lie, I was a little worried at first when I'm watching Morana's highlight reel, and it took a good couple minutes before there was actually any defense on there. It was a lot of, oh, look at him provide a cross, look at him do this. Same thing with Moore, but that also kind of really fits with what Darren likes to do. We know he likes his fullbacks to be able to push high, really generate attack from their play, and it seems like both of those guys like to do that. They've come through. They both played at MLS. Next Pro. Morano, spent a season with Legion in Miami, kind of half and half. Not really sure what he was up to last year. It's a little common question with some of these guys of what was going on in 2025. What I saw of Ethan Coast, I heard different pronunciations on different videos.
Yeah, I can't wait for that pronunciation guy to come out.
Yeah, he's actually, I think, the smallest of all the guys at like 6'1".
It's
And
crazy to say 6'1" as well.
yeah, but very interesting path because he's a Cali kid.
Mm-hmm.
He did his college over in Ireland.
Yeah, I
He
did see
played for
that. Played,
over there and played like second division Ireland for a little bit. Moved
yeah,
over to Birmingham. Everything I was seeing is like he's a guy like old school looking center back where he's there to put in tackles, body you. That's about it. He does not seem like he's going to be a fancy boy defender in any way. He seems like he is there. Oh yeah, you want to go this direction? No, you don't get to go that direction. Uh, and I think that's fine. Like the other guys are able to, help handle distribution, help with some of that stuff. That's great. Like, there's something to be said for a guy who likes to defend as a defender.
Yeah, I mean, I like the whole profile of them. I share the same concern that you have. Like a lot of these guys didn't seem to play in 2025, especially close and Mujab, who spent time in USL Championship clubs. Like when it comes to a lot of these signings, my biggest thing in this offseason was, and Matt, I don't know if you share the same feeling I did, but I wanted guys who came from winning programs. They don't have to be like the out and out starter, but I wanted guys who were used to winning because last year, and I hate to say it, like the stench of losing became too common within that locker room. And especially with having a lot of young guys that are left behind, they haven't necessarily had success when it comes to winning, knowing how to win, what it takes to win. And I wanted guys who were signing for the club. Granted, the physical assets are great, but also with the mentality of what it takes day in, day out to win. And over the last couple of years, Richmond with their signings haven't really hit that mark or getting guys who had that mentality.
Yeah, I think Jan can probably bring some of that. I'm not
Yeah.
as sold on the last few because Birmingham Legion kind of been garbage. Miami FC, like the epitome of tire fire professional levels. Crown Legacy, it seemed like they were pretty mediocre last year. But I think the next couple of guys we're going to talk about could bring that.
Right. So the next guy, I have him as midfield, but I'm pretty sure he can be center back, is Sam Layton, Vermont Green, who just won USL League Two's title. Yeah, they won that, right? Yeah.
One of these years, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Syracuse Orange. I'm pretty sure John Mars is going to love him so much that he played for Syracuse. But seems to be a good holding midfield presence. This was the signing that I was most excited for because I'm not going to lie, I was being a little bit negative. I wasn't so excited about our signings. But a holding midfield is something that this team has been missing for a long time. Seems to be coming through the doors from Vermont.
Maybe. Can't really tell because A, couldn't find any good YouTube highlights except for his old like Burnley U18 clips, which I'm not even entertaining.
Yeah, I'm not even touching that.
But
yeah, hey, he's coming from Burnley. I know he can fight. Because if he was there at the time Sean Dyche was there, I know he taught the boys how to fight.
Well, he's an Aussie too, and not just Aussies from Brisbane, which everything I know about Queensland is that it's basically the Texas of Australia. So he's probably a fun boy, to say the least. But yeah, interesting path. Australian. Ended up in Burnley of all places. Then it came to the States. Started off at Southern Illinois Edwardsville, I think it was. Did his program there. Helped lead them to I think their first conference title in forever. They might have even had finished like an undefeated regular season. One of those years, transferred to Syracuse, for his grad year. There Syracuse has been a good ACC program in recent years. Played with Vermont Green one of those summers. I don't think it was last year because I think he was back in Australia playing for Gold Coast and it's not the A League. It's like this. I don't know what level of professionalism it is. It's like semi-pro league right underneath it.
Yeah,
it's their second division basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's bounced around a bit in that way, but again, all these guys that we've talked about on the general defensive side, uh, 23, 24, 25, 26. So Ellie, I know that was a age profile that you really wanted them to zero in on.
Yeah.
We hit that. Layden's 6'2". He seems like solid guy, but again, couldn't find adult highlights
Yeah.
of him.
You might have to go see if he played at any Vermont Green or Syracuse Orange highlights or anything like that. But
Yeah.
just
Now, I did find a fun story about him
okay.
online.
Ooh.
So apparently, when he was at Burnley, and I guess once he got cut, didn't make it out of the academy, whatever it was,
Mhm.
he was trying to lash out with other teams. Working at the Domino's there, while on the hunt, and then that's what kind of made him realize, hey, let's look towards America so I can, get my degree, so that way something happens, I'm not working mid-wage jobs like this in the future. So, uh, pretty cool story. It's that if you Google him, I think it's from the Syracuse student newspaper or something like that from a few years back.
Hmm.
But yeah, he talked about how for a good minute or two there, he was working the Burnley Dominoes.
We need to ask him what's his favorite pizza order is or least favorite working at
Or
Domino's.
yeah, maybe he just hates it now. And
Probably so. Probably the smell of it is just who knows. But yeah, I think this is an exciting signing. Another exciting signing is Tariq Penhulzer, the German left man. I have as a left man / attacking man, seem to kind of play in those half spaces. Seems to bring a creativity and attacking intent, something the team was lacking. But once again, it comes from a winning program, Matt. Something that I was talking about earlier in Marshall. What's your thoughts on him playing in the college soccer game?
yeah, so he started off at East Tennessee State, did pretty well there, transferred up to Marshall. Is what looked like 1 year there. They won the national championship. He scored the winner in the semifinal. He scored in the final. Didn't work out for them. That game, and then he spent the last year back home over in Germany playing for his local team. I think they're like fifth division or something over there. Again, I don't know if that's just a timing issue or what the deal was, but you know, so get same age profile, 25. Not a 6-footer,
Yeah,
so he looks like he's about 5'8". But you look at the highlights, like the thing that stood out to me, is he likes to run. He likes to be able to really push the ball high. Seems to be a quick player. Uh, it looks like he tends to run a lot of the same channels we saw Darwin was in last year. So I don't know if that's a matter of Darwin's going to move more centrally. Uh, don't know what the plan is there, but he seems to be a guy who favors kind of that inside left channel a little bit. He's willing to get down to the end line, put in some crosses that way, find the right pass through there. But yeah, pace. That's
yeah,
kind of the key thing that stood out to me. Pace, quickness. Seems pretty clean on the ball. I think the big question for him is physically, is he going to be able to step up into the League One game where you can get some bully defenders in there, and is he going to be able to handle that?
yeah. I think that's part of his development. Is he a player that solely relies on his pace, and does he have the technical tools to get past it? Because we know, League One defenders, will beat up on you. Look at Emmy. Look at how perfect example, Owen Gordon, right? When Owen was fit and healthy, no one can keep up with him. He had the pace. It's just a technical skill let him down over the course of time. And I do like what I see. I just wonder, like you said, Matt, where he's going to play, how is he going to play, and when you look at how many sites we have so far right now, I think we walked back 9 guys and we signed him for the 6. So 15 guys, is the other guy still there to fill out the roster? Does he go to the right side, or is he the backup to Darwin on 11? It feels like this is Darwin's team for the most part. I have a sneaky guess. Well, not a sneaky guess. I have a different thought into that. I know a lot of people are saying that they feel like this is Darwin's team right now, but I think it might be someone else's. But we'll see how Darren is going about building this team up. But yeah. How do you like the signing so far? How do you rate them?
Pretty good. So one more thing about Tarek that I wanted to add in here. So he's from Flensburg, Germany.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that place before?
Flensburg, Germany? No.
Okay. Little tiny town, like almost Denmark.
Oh. Wow.
So it's like way the hell up there.
Mm-hmm.
Not our first player from Flensburg, Germany ever.
Oh. Who else do we have up there?
Ever heard of a guy called Sasha Goris?
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I mean, if this works out, even close to the same level, yeah, let's get that pipeline, building.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, like what are the odds? Because little tiny border town, I mean, granted, they signed like 20 years apart from each other, but still, what are the odds?
I mean, hey, yeah, what are the odds? That is hilarious. Almost 20 years later. Wow. Did not know that. So yeah, with the 6 signings we got coming in, I mean, it feels as if Darren is making a clear change. One thing that was catching my attention while I was looking at the profile, a lot of these defenders and whatnot, is like a lot of them seem they either play a lot of time as center back or as left back. I'm not saying Darren's going to go to a back three, but it seemed like he's getting defenders who can play and slide across that back line. So it's not like he's married to, you have to be a center back, you have to be a left back. There's a little bit more flexibility in between that.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, we'll talk about this plenty more as the season gets coming along. I think it's a clear message. Hey, Griffin, hey Beckett, your spots are not guaranteed. Like,
yeah,
we're bringing in dudes. Like you got to earn your minutes.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like I think,
no, not at all.
Like these guys are at the point now where, especially like Landon, like it's time for you to earn your keep. Earn your spot, show what you got. You got to rise to the top. A lot of guys might be left behind. A lot of our guys that we were looking at might be left behind, unfortunately. So, Matt, let me ask you this. Based on these signings and how things are looking right now with the 15 guys you have, what kind of team do you think Richmond is trying to become? Like, with the versatility, like how is Darren looking to do things with versatility, depth, and like defensive structure so far?
Yeah. I mean, I think they're definitely loading up with the idea of, hey, again, this is going to be a long, demanding season, this year. So, we need, not just depth, quality depth.
Yeah.
Places. So, we've heard a little, rumors like, hey, we're backing away from going as youth heavy as we did, before. And I think this might be the, kind of some of the first signs, of that. But I think it's also kind of a sign of, hey, the defense was not good enough last year. We need to, kind of rebuild the foundation of the house, first, and get that in order, so that way we can be able to build, the fancy penthouse that is the attack.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I think we're still going to see the same core, Darren principles. I don't think that's going to completely change. Yeah, there'll probably be some different tweaks in there, but at the core, Darren, he's a 4-3-3 guy, likes his wingers, likes his fullbacks, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. You just got to make sure you get the guys who can be able to be effective in that setup.
Yeah, playing a lot of the wings, what Darren likes to do. So we'll see how things adapt and whatnot. I don't think it's going to be so much of a formation thing because we know Darren is married to this 4-3-3. But I think the thing that I'm going to be watching a little bit more closely this year is what are the principles of play? Like, what are the things Darren are looking to do consistently within games? that would give me a good indicator of where things lie at with this team right now. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, Matt, I was broken last year. Like there were just games I was just like, I don't know what.
I don't think anybody noticed that at all. Yeah, you didn't let that on one bit that you were beaten down.
Yeah, like I was just like, I don't know what we are doing. Are we? I mean, granted, we're still in the middle of the transfer window, but are there any missing pieces to this roster profile player that you would like to see Richmond sign?
Yeah, I mean, we need midfielders still, right? Yeah, that was a problem point, last year. Depending on how you classify Layden or Dak, really, we got like 3.5-ish midfielders on the roster. So definitely need to put some quality, into there. And I think what's that center forward piece going to look like? I think getting a center forward, getting another winger in there because we know Kirkland can play both. We got Darwin up there. We got Tarek up there right now. So there's some guys, but I think at least one more guy who probably likes to primarily play through the middle. One more guy who maybe a pure winger, and then 2-3 midfielders.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that. Probably another box-to-box midfielder. I would like another CDM. Definitely some attackers. I feel like the next 2 to 3 starters are probably going to be attackers. A center forward, starting center forward, another winger. And then we'll see from there. I'll be interested to see. Be very interested to see. But yeah, man, this is our last episode before the new year starts. And then 2026 here. And before you know it, we're going to be on March 7th cheering on the Roos at a bar somewhere as they're playing the game.
Yeah, March 7th/8th because it's West Coast. So it'll probably be some janky like 11 p.m. Kickoff.
We're gonna have that late kick out there at AV Alta. That's gonna be hilarious. Well, I mean, hey, at least they get that big road trip out the way early. I'm not mad at that.
Exactly. So, worst things. One other schedule thing that just came to me.
Mm-hmm.
They're not taking a break at all during the World Cup. So there's going to be some interesting moments in there. Like, great. It looks like we really only have 2 home games during the World Cup time. So June 20th, Fort Wayne. July 3rd, Sarasota. Hopefully, there's no kind of tasty conflicts going on with when we're playing.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not mad that they're not taking a break at all. Just because one, the World Cup roster does not impact the kickers at all.
Oh no.
Yeah, so like there's no reason to take a break, and it's lower league soccer. And I'll be honest with you, like the way how these World Cup tickets are looking, like this is probably a way of getting more fans in the stadium who want to watch some level of soccer. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a watch party at the stadium or something. I'm hoping there is. That'd be great to capitalize on to just get fans in the stadium.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like I haven't looked at the World Cup schedule or haven't memorized well enough to know like, all right, what group games are also going on, the same day as the Fort Wayne home game, and are people going to get tempted away by watching some random ass other group group game, and then when that Sarasota game's going on, like that should be sometime in the knockout stage. So that one, you're actually getting to spicier matchups, by then. So hopefully they can be maybe a little flexible with when kickoff times are. Yeah, because
we'll see. But I mean, got a lot to worry about that. But hopefully, by the time we start talking again in January, man, we'll have more assignments to talk about, more exciting stuff to talk about with the kickers and whatnot. Hopefully, some preseason games. Preseason schedule. That'll be great. But anything else for you, Matt, before we wrap up?
No, I mean, hopefully everybody's enjoyed the early Christmas gifts, early not early Hanukkah, right in the middle of Hanukkah gifts of all these signings so far, and enjoy the holiday proper coming up.
Yeah, for real. Enjoy the footy, enjoy the gifts coming up. Spend time with your loved ones. Take the time to rest and reset. And with all that being said, we appreciate you guys for taking the time out of your day for listening to our podcast. We look forward to talking to you guys again in 2026. As always, up the Roos, be easy and be safe.